Alrighty, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want, and today we're going to be going through more body positivity, fat acceptance, cringe compilations. So yeah, let's just get into this. Alrighty my people, I just want to interject that I do have a Patreon, and I do want to point out that if you want to support the channel, there is exclusive content on there, and I upload once a week. So yeah, if you want to check it out and support the channel, cool. If not, then let's get on with the video.
I had this moment the other day thinking about how fat bodies are seen as wrong, when in all actuality, we're fucking stunning. Everything about us is unique. Fat people don't have a body double. Our arms are different, our back rolls, our bellies, our legs, everything about us is completely and utterly unique.
Okay, I'm just gonna call this out. This is weird. Every human on Earth is different. Fat, skinny, short, tall. We all have different genetic coding, so I think it's kind of comical and sort of stupid that somebody's talking exclusively about, like, fat bodies being unique. All bodies are unique. I know I'm nitpicking a little bit here, but I just think it's really weird because all these people have to come up with weird, like, justifications for being fat. They have to go like, oh, people look at being fat as wrong. And there's nothing morally wrong with being fat. The only thing that's wrong with it is that if you want to live a long and healthy life with the lowest level of suffering from ailments, you probably want to maintain a close to normal, healthy body weight. So that's the only gripe I think most people have with it, especially when they reach like the stage of adulthood and get later on in years where they can have a higher chance of dying. I think that's when people actually start really thinking about their health, when being fat is actually kind of more concerning. When you're younger, you can get away with a lot. But as you get older, you're gonna start recognizing, hey, there is something wrong with being fat. It's just not morally wrong to be fat. When you start getting older, you're gonna start probably noticing that there is something wrong with being excessively overweight, and that doesn't have to do with how people perceive you, it's how your body functions as a whole.
So, all I'm saying is, you're fucking beautiful.
Here's the other thing. I have no issue with individuals thinking that they're beautiful or people wanting to be body positive and whatnot. It's totally up to every single individual how they want to perceive themselves, and if you want to perceive yourself positively, think you're beautiful, totally understandable. But that's kind of besides the point here. Like, it's good to be positive, but you want to also treat your body well, and if you're excessively overweight to a point where it's going to kill you, it's equivalent to being severely underweight. So there's a point where you want to think, okay, what's better for your well-being? You know, thinking you're beautiful is great, but your looks eventually are going to go. At the end of the day, most of us are going to stop caring about what we look like, and we're going to start worrying more about, you know, how we're functioning, because eventually those looks, again, they do go. So it says here, fat activist, you're losing weight because of diet culture and the patriarchy. And then me, this girl, says, your whole civil rights group was created by men who didn't want to be ashamed for liking fat women and feeder fetishism, or feeder fetish. Yeah, I wonder if there's gonna be a response to that.
That's not the same. Okay, can you?
Okay, there isn't. I don't really know who started the fat acceptance or the body positivity movement. Everybody says it comes from somewhere else, one side or the other. By feminists, by the patriarchy. I think it came from more like the body acceptance ED recovery groups online in the 2000s or whatever, but it could be from anybody, and that's besides the point now, so I just don't really care. But yeah, I don't know, like, this person seems to be kind of calling it out a little bit, but they're also kind of just, you know, making another argument, so I don't know, man, it's all weird.
This is just a reminder that your tummy is so cute! So cute.
Sorry, I just have to look for a second. Yeah, it's alright. I don't know. I don't understand, like, looking at your body, like, and, like, again, recording it's really weird. I don't know why all these people like recording their bodies. I think it's kind of annoying. I think it's really weird. But the other thing is, thinking your body or your tummy looks cute. I don't know, man. Do whatever you want. It's just so odd. Like, this is just such an odd subset of behavior. I just do not understand it. I'm sorry. I just don't get it, my dudes.
Little tummy rolls? That's okay. Arms that jiggle? That's okay. Back rolls? That's okay.
The whole saying that's okay seems to be a means of justifying the distaste one would have with their body, especially when they're significantly overweight. So I think it's also a form of denial in a sense, like saying like, no, I'm not dying early, and I'm not ugly, and I'm not fat, or even if I'm fat, like, it's okay to be fat. I just don't think it's a good mentality to have, because you kind of have to, like, convince yourself that you're not doing something incorrectly, but I think that when you are getting to an extreme weight in one direction or the other, you do end up doing something incorrectly. Doesn't mean you're a bad person. By no means doesn't mean that you're a bad person, because we've all been there in some regard. But there's something that you're not doing correctly and it's bad for your body. So I think that automatically is going to ring some sort of mental alarm bell for you, whether you want to believe it or not. POV. You tell someone your health isn't their business and they begin to insult you endlessly while claiming they care about your health. I mean, there are people who will be concerned about you, and if you take things as an offense, then get offended, I guess. The problem is, if you tell somebody something particularly pertaining to your weight, and it's obviously like ridiculous, like if you're morbidly obese and you're saying like, my health is none of your business, even though you're telling them that your health is none of their business, you're pulling them into the conversation, or you were already having a conversation with them to begin with. But the other thing is, if anybody does this, if they're severely underweight, abusing narcotics, they're doing something that's really, really bad, and the effects of inappropriate behavior are showing, especially to their loved ones, they're going to want to comment on what you're doing. They care about you. And this is the same comment that somebody would make if they were like abusing narcotics or severely anorexic. Oh, it's none of your business. I can do what I want. It's my life. It's my body. And you're still scaring the fuck out of people. Like, if you find that you're out of control in some regard, you're going to be scaring the crap out of your loved ones. They will want to talk to you about something. They'll want to tell you about things. I wish at certain points in my life, people were a little bit more confrontational with me regarding my inappropriate behaviors, because I've been all around the spectrum in these regards as well, on behaving extremely, so much so that it will impair my health and well-being, mentally and physically. And when you get to a point where people are calling you out, you know it's bad, because a lot of the time, the people who love you, they don't want to hurt you. Now, saying that, this person says, when you tell someone, are you telling people online? Because at the end of the day, if you put anything online like you're doing right now, that's everybody's business. You're making it everybody's business by posting on the internet like you are doing right now. If it's somebody who's not a loved one, maybe it's just a friend, or maybe it's just an acquaintance, then don't care. It doesn't matter. But I'm assuming it's a loved one just on the basis of the interaction as a whole. And yeah, if you talk to somebody about your health, then you kind of make it their business. So, I don't know, man. I think it's just kind of dumb.
And you die alone, and this world just drops a bunch of rules on top of you to make you forget those facts, but I never forget.
Me when my boyfriend works 10 plus hour days and comes home to me wearing the same dress for the third day in a row, unbrushed hair, and unmedicated mental illness. This sounds like a problem. I'm not trying to proclaim any, professionalism when it comes to unmedicated mental illness. I would assume that they're depressed, just because, when you're depressed, a lot of the time, you're not going to brush your hair, you're not going to take care of yourself, you're not going to want to shower, you're not going to want to change your clothes, you're going to be wearing the same clothes consistently, you won't be cleaning up after yourself, you get these stints of just going, I can't do anything, and then you feel worse because you're not doing anything, so you keep not doing anything, because then you're just freaking out to yourself. It's like, anxiety and depression, I think, are two of the most common things that people experience on a common basis, and I think they do tend to perpetuate a lot of people to kind of, not take care of themselves well, because they can't quite cope with doing all of these things. Somehow the anxiety overwhelms you while you're not doing anything, and then also the depression pulls you down so you can't do anything, so you're just constantly freaking out because you're not doing anything, but you really can't do anything because you're also really depressed. So that's what I think, but I know I'm not trying to say this person's depressed or anxiety riddled. I don't know what they're experiencing as an individual. I would say, though, if you are proclaiming that you are unmedicated with a mental illness, maybe that's something that's crossed your mind. Maybe that's something you want to consider or take care of or go to therapy for. I don't know. And I get this person's dancing around. I don't know what their life's like, but I would say it's super duper difficult to get out of these things, and also it's very unforgiving. So yeah, I don't know. Hope this person's doing well, but it's rough stuff, dude.
When I talk about how the word obese is a slur, at least one person will always pop their head out of the ground to say, obese is a medical term.
Okay, one. Okay, I gotta call this out. I get so confused I know I've reacted to this girl before, but then I always get confused saying no, I've commented on this video before, I've reacted to this before, because she literally looks almost the same in every video because she's the same person and she says the same statement, pop their head out of the ground. So I just had to call that out because it's so funny. But anyways, obese is not a slur. It's not just used for people. it's used for animals, it's used for bugs, dude. And I don't think that bugs and animals have the same comprehension of the social constructs that we have devised in our language. But at the end of the day, you have to come up with some sort of terminology to diagnose somebody at a severely underweight and a severely overweight weight. If that entails the term obese, instead of like, I don't know, globbledy-glook or glee-glaw, like if somebody said something else in place of obesity, would you feel better on a medical basis? This is just how terminology is used. To actually find if something is a slur or not, you have to look at the context at which it is applied. So when I see this, I just get really disappointed because it's not the word that matters, it's the context that it is applied to and that you use when you're using the word. If you go up to somebody morbidly obese and you go, oh my god, you're obese, you're disgusting, like, obese, evil, like, you say horrible things to them, then I could kind of level with this person on that basis. But if you go to a professional environment and your BMI is over 30, and they weigh you, and they say, you're clinically obese, you know, there's nothing evil about what they're saying. They're saying something factual based on the categorization of your body weight to height ratio. So, I don't know, man. I think it's stupid. I think it's dumb.
As if that somehow makes it better. You know what else used to be a medical term? Like a lot of bad shit we don't say anymore. Because we realized it was stigmatizing as fuck and it actively harmed people.
Like what, bro? At least give, oh, I bet she can't say it because she doesn't want to say a slur. Well, then at least, you know, I don't know, bleep it out, but give some context. I don't know. Like, I don't know what this person's talking about. We are just categorizing body weight here. The better way to make an argument here would be to be like, oh, well, obesity is based on BMI, and BMI is somewhat subjective, so obesity is inaccurate, and therefore people are being misdiagnosed and being given particular warnings about health issues that they could get at this weight when they might not get it at this weight because the measure of weight is wrong or something. Like, if you say something like that, it makes way more sense than saying that obesity is a slur and then being like, well, we used other words in the past and all that stuff, and that's why obesity is also a slur. It's kind of funny because if you were to compare the term obesity to any other inappropriate verbiage or language used throughout history, it would be laughable. It would be absolutely laughable.
You can Google them, I'm not gonna say them here. Science and language are both
I can't Google them because I don't know what... Okay, let's look it up. Let's just look it up because I don't want to do this. I don't care. I don't care if the video gets demonetized. I'm looking this up. This is a list of disability-related terms that I found on Wikipedia. You can pause. I'm just gonna kind of run through all of them while I talk. This is dumb. Okay? I bet obesity's not even gonna be on here. I don't know how to explain how dumb it is to be comparing the term obese to like stuff like this. This is the thing that I have an issue with. It's like obese cannot be compared to any of these words. Like, dude, look at this. Like, really? Like, if this is what this person's talking about, most of this has to do with, like, from what it looks like, mental health, not physical health. Not even just physical health. I'm not trying to be a jerk and just like proclaim this is what they're talking about, but they were so non-specific, I don't actually know what they were talking about. So I don't know. Times change and language changes over a course of time. One, so that it's less discriminant to individuals who are being belittled by specific terminology. And that's completely understandable. There's nothing wrong with that, especially on a medical and professional basis. But when it comes to obesity, it's just used as a categorization on the basis of BMI. So if you want to change the word, you can, but we need some form of word to categorize it. And obesity is already being used, so why would we change it, especially if it's not being used in a disgusting or belittling way? It would actually be worse to call somebody fat in this regard, to just say BMI 30, oh, it's fat, because that already has so many negative connotations, it would make it worse. So what's your solution is the thing. What's the solution?
Constantly evolving and updating. The medical establishment is not exempt from this. If anything, it's actually a particularly strong example of how this happens. We don't need to look too far back into history at all to see how medical terminology and practices change. For example,
What is the medical terminology that you want used then? What is it? Like, do you have any replacement? Let's see it. What is it? Is it large fat, super fat, infinifat? Like, what are we talking about, bro? You need to come up with a replacement if you want to give us this whole spielio.
Homosexuality is no longer diagnosed as a mental illness. Female hysteria is not something that's diagnosed anymore. Cocaine and heroin are no longer prescribed as anesthetics or cough suppressants.
None of this applies to body weight and BMI. All those things are super screwed up, obviously, but we're talking about obese being a term to define somebody with a BMI of over 30. Like, this is not the same thing. You're comparing apples to oranges, dude.
Lysol cleaning spray is no longer used as a douche. We don't perform.
How are we talking about Lysol cleaning spray no longer being used as a douche and comparing that to us needing to take away the word obesity because it's a slur? Like, does that make sense? Is this a sensible comparison here to you? I can't believe it. I really can't believe it.
Ice pick lobotomies anymore.
We're talking about prescribing narcotics, using Lysol as a douche, and lobotomies. We're taking these examples and then we are comparing them to the term obesity, which is used just to define someone's BMI at a certain threshold. Like, one of these is not the same, dude. They're not the same. It's just crazy.
Doctors no longer advocate for the health benefits of smoking cigarettes. Oops. More importantly, when a marginalized group tells you that a word or practice harms them, you can just go ahead and believe them.
I feel like the examples made in this video cannot be compared to the term obesity. It just doesn't make as much sense. Again, what's your solution? What do you want to replace the term obesity? How do you want to categorize people of an obese weight in the medical communities? How do you want to come up with a solution instead of making more problems? That's my issue with this. I also don't believe it because all of our studies, all of our medical literature, when it talks about obesity, obesity is just used clinically. It's not like we're trying to beat the crap out of people verbally and make them feel bad for their life decisions and why they're obese and all that stuff. It's literally just to categorize somebody at a certain body weight and BMI. So, I don't know, man. I think it's dumb. But yeah, anyways, that's just my opinion. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think that obesity is a slur? And yeah, that's it. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time, my people. It has been lovely. Slater.